Come on up, and we got some words for you from our hostess.
All right. Well, I want to start out, obviously, by thanking everyone for being here. This means a tremendous amount to me, to my family, for all of you to be here. I have known some of you since before I officially started my career, 30 years ago. And I have been on my own for 20 of that, which is hard to even believe when I say it out loud. Hey, Sheree, you snuck in on me. Bob snuck in on me too, so yeah, there we go. If I haven't gotten to say hello or give you a hug, I promise that I will. Make sure that you come and get me, okay? All right, I'm so thankful for everyone here. But I thought I'd get started first. Since not everybody knows really how I got my start, some of you do, I thought I would just recap a little bit really quickly. So I grew up in Compton, California. My dad, Richard, took my sister and I to the tennis courts almost every day. And, you know, we finally hit it big with a great agent. And guess what? Oh, wait, that's somebody else's story that we're celebrating right now. Yay, Serena Williams. You're supposed to start with making people laugh, right? So if you didn't like it, it was Clint's idea. All right, so let's back up to 1992. I was doing a temporary summer gig with the Michigan Nurses Association, coming off about a year and a half of doing internships. And fast forward a couple of years, I did a gig as a writer for the Owasso Argus Press, and guess what area I covered? Langsburg. Who knew that I would end up living here on 30 years later, or more, or not quite 30. We moved out. Clint lived here when I met him. And my little starter house in Lansing was just, you know, nice, but a lake house was a whole lot better. So, and then I didn't like the lake house down there, so we moved down here. So, you know, we did really well. But anyway, did that gig, got to know the area a little bit, did a lot of paid and pro bono things in between, lots and lots of networking. And there's a woman here tonight who gave me my very first official PR job. I chased her down the sidewalk outside of the Lansing City Club, literally one day, because I had been doing informational interviews with all these PR people trying to get a full-time real job. This was in '92 when when I graduated, there just weren't any jobs. And so I managed to piece it together and go for a while. And somebody said, you know, Barb Lazat was just here. We've been at a PRSA meeting. You need to meet Barb Lazat. Barb Lazat is standing right here in the green with the white pants. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about her in a minute. But I literally chased her down. And she looked at me, looked me up and down, and I said, can I share my resume with you? I understand that, you know, you are somebody that I should talk to. And she said, well, I'll take it and I'll look it over. I got a phone call a couple of weeks later because they were looking for a very part-time person, and little did I know that somebody that I had previously interned for was working for her. And so the guy said, we have to talk to her. Apparently that's the story I got. I don't know about if that's true or not, but you know what? That footwork paid off because I got my first job one day a week. I started out one day a week. I was so excited. I was on top of the world. I didn't care if it was one day a week. I was working in downtown Lansing. I was on my way. And it quickly went to full-time. And I want to thank you, Barb, for your faith in me and for the opportunity, because you really helped me to really officially get going.
You were a great catch.
Well, thank you. I bought my first car. A new car, a real new car, true new car. You might have seen my picture earlier this week with my little Blueberry. It was a blue neon when the neons first came out. Don't ever buy the first run of a new car. Holy cannoli, did I have problems. Who's hiding up there? Patrice and Al, come down here. Come on. Come on. You're not shy. So that footwork paid off. I also bought my first house the day before my 21st birthday. My friends were jealous because my mortgage payment was less than their apartment rent payments were. And I also can attribute that to Barb because she's like, don't get an apartment, get a house. I'm like, get a house? I can't afford a mortgage, for crying out loud. She's like, no, Carrie, There are lots of good first-time homebuyer programs. Just do this. And by God, she was right. I got the cutest little starter house in downtown Lansing. It was awesome. She and I got to be good friends. One day I came in, she's like, we're going someplace. I want to show you something. These are our new offices. She was starting her own firm, and she asked me to come with her. She started Rathbun Public Relations. She is still going strong today. That was in 1995. So I had a very good role model to start with. Throw in, after that, I left her. I wanted to go on and do something different. I did a corporate stint where only 7 months to the day, I learned about restructuring and unemployment. So I got to know the unemployment system. So then I went to a nonprofit gig where I learned about state funding cuts and returning to the unemployment line. So that was the second job I had, been cut from in 15 years' time. And no, I really didn't get fired. I really was cut from the job twice. But this guy that I knew had been the chair of the PR and Development Committee for Ellie's Place. If you don't know Ellie's Place, it's a center for grieving children in Lansing, and it's an amazing, amazing organization. I was on their board for many years. Before that, I was a facilitator with the 3 to 6 year olds. And if you have never waded into grief with a child, it is just something that is an unbelievable experience. And it teaches you a lot about what you have. And it went from there to being on a committee to being on the board. But anyway, this guy, Dennis Pace, and Dennis couldn't be here tonight, he kept trying to get me to come to work for him. And I kept saying, no, I'm done with agency work. I don't want to do agency work. I'm done. Nope. But he waited me out. So once I landed on the front page of the Lansing State Journal for losing my second job after a 15-month period, okay, it wasn't me on the front of the Lansing State Journal, but the organization whose funding was cut by the state. He asked again. And I said, okay. And it wasn't because I needed a job. It was because in the time that I'd gotten to know Dennis and been involved in the PR field, I really got to know people in his firm and really came to respect them. And I thought, okay, I'll go and I'll meet with his partner, I'll meet with his PR director. Well, they snagged me. It was a great 4 years, full of growth, fun, a menagerie of clients from all types of industries, and learning what it was like to work with those creative types who never had their copy ready on time to take to the client for the radio script we were writing, who didn't have the design. I haven't thought about it enough yet. I'm not ready. I'm like, you better think fast because I need that. I've got a meeting tomorrow. So that's where I learned how to be very much a taskmaster. And most of you know me and know that that's how I am anyway. But I realized at that point that multi-client work was really in my blood. So there is someone here who worked with me there, and that is Miss Deb Horak. And she is in the beautiful white dress right here. That person who hired me, Dennis Pace, the firm was then Pace and Partners. It is now Good Marketing in Old Town, and Deb is now the owner of Good Marketing. So we both kind of came up and made our way. We had our first together. We were pregnant together. Maria and Brady are 12 days apart. We milked that for all it was worth in the office. Let me tell you, did we use hormones as much as we could? I'm hungry. I want donuts. Let's go for tacos. Okay. So yes, we milked that for all it was worth. But anyway, God had other plans. You see, along the way, I'd met this guy. Actually, I met him twice, with whom I kind of, eventually fell in love. First time was when I worked for Barb. We were vying for his company's business, Great Lakes Hybrids, up here in Oakwood, when he still worked there, when it still existed. And we left, and I told Barb, I said, that plant was really cute. And she says, Carrie, you understand that if we get this client, there is no fraternizing with the client. There's no fraternizing with the client. I said, okay, all right. Well, we didn't get it. So I figured that was the end of him. So about a year and a half later, I'm at a Lansing Advertising Club meeting. And this was a great thing where you used to go to the MAC and It was a bar where all of the printers and graphic designers and paper people would buy you booze all night long because they wanted your business. Michelle's laughing. She remembers that. Deb remembers that. And so there's this guy who is like checking me out and like looking at me. And across the room, he's like, I'm like, creepy.
I was cooler.
You don't know, dude. But he looked kind of familiar. I could not figure out why. Well, turns out he's this guy that I had already met once before. We met again, and the rest is history, as they say. Well, okay, so shortly thereafter, I go to work for Pace, who had won the Great Lakes Hybrids account. They wanted me to oversee that account. And I said, oh gosh, here comes the fraternization conversation again. But they didn't show me the door. They showed me other clients and allowed the romance to continue. And look where we are now, honey. We'll be 23 years in December. It was great. So we'll fast forward to February 2002. I'm 6 months pregnant. We're 6 months pregnant.
No, you weren't.
Yeah. Okay. We're returning from a trip to see Clint's parents, who are up here seated, Andy and Denny Hawks. They have a farm in Illinois where Clint grew up. We've been down there. And we start this conversation in the car about, I'm not sure what I want to do. I'm pregnant. I've seen my girlfriends have babies. Not want to go back to work. And they decide, oh my God, I cannot stay home. I've got to go back to work. But I left this great job. Or, oh no, I'm going to go back to work. Oh, I miss my baby, I can't do this. I said, I don't know how I'm going to feel, I don't know what I want to do. So this was the conversation. Clint, so go out on your own. Me, oh, no way, too risky. What if I don't make it and I've given up a great job? Look at your network, you know everybody. I do not know everybody. But
You're the mayor of Owasso.
all you need is a desk, a phone, and a computer. We can do that. I'll handle the steady paycheck and the benefits until we see how it goes. I don't know. I think we need to pray about it and think about it. My faith is very important to me. For those of you that know me well, my faith is a very, very big driver in my life. So we decided to take the leap of faith. I told my bosses at Pace, they were very, very supportive. I gave them 4 months notice, right, Deb? 4 months. So they couldn't say that, I didn't know, they actually gave me some of my first clients. It was just a great relationship that was very important to me that I did not want to lose. I learned very early in my career that you do not burn bridges. And boy, has that served me well over my career. And I teach everybody I know when I mentor young people the same thing. Don't you ever burn a bridge, whatever it takes to stay on that high road. You can walk away and you can say as many swear words as you want, but do not ever burn bridges that you cannot go back across. So I worked up at Pace until this bouncing baby boy arrived. And let me tell you, bouncing was the key word through the whole pregnancy. That child did somersaults in my stomach. He kicked me whenever I would have my belly against the desk. He had hiccups all the time, which turned out to be where his acid reflux came from, apparently. Poor kid, still suffering from that. He came along at 8 pounds, 10 ounces, 22 and a half inches long, and he was supposedly 2 weeks early. I can't imagine how big he'd have been if he went the full way. I guess he's grown a little because he's 6'4" now. 3 months later, in August 2002, Rathbun Public Relations was born. I had a small desk that was already part of our old kitchen until we could figure something else out. They gave us an excuse for a remodel, the first of 3. Have we done 3? 3 or 4. We can't do any more, we're landlocked. All we can do is go up. But we remodeled, did an office. I absolutely cannot believe that it has been 20 years. For me to say that out loud is just, I can't believe it's been 20 years. If you've had your own business, you know that there are ups and downs, ebbs and flows. And there were times when we didn't know if this was truly meant to be. We had a lot of times where it was like, I don't know, maybe I should just go get a job. And he's like, no, it's going to be all right. We kept the faith. The joys and the celebrations far outweighed the fears and the doubts. I went back through the other day and I counted clients, paying clients. In 20 years, I've had more than 80 clients. More than 80. I didn't know. I mean, I really, truly didn't until I counted them. Dozens of pro bono projects. God didn't give us talents if he didn't expect us to share it back. It's just the right thing to do. I have been on almost 3 dozen boards and more committees. I'm not smart enough to shut my mouth when I get on a board, so I usually end up being the chair of the board or something like that. I'm not saying that to be vain, it's just to let you know that, I don't ask me to be on your board if you don't really want, somebody to come in who's going to have a big mouth and ask questions. So, and then of course there's the many prospects who didn't hire me, but who should have. I have had the privilege to mentor dozens of students through being an adjunct faculty at Michigan State University in the past. Go Green, my alma mater. Are they on yet? I'm sorry, I'm going a little long. And dozens more one way or another. I've had wonderful interns. One of my best is right here tonight, Ava Brewer. She is an integrated public relations major at Central Michigan. She's in Centralis, the Honors College, and event management is her minor. So guess who got to plan the event?
Nice job.
She did a great job. But I've received numerous humbling honors and awards, truly. Probably not deserving of very many of them, but there's just a few out here, just a few. I have to say that I am the most proud and the most honored to have been welcomed into the Athena International Sisterhood in 2018. And there are some other Athenians here. Can you please raise your hands? Kathy's in the back. Where did Laura go? Laura's over here. And I know many from the Lansing sector. Mine is from the Shiawassee County sector. It's 2018. Here are a few of the things. These are the principles that an Athenian is called to live into, and part of what we are evaluated on when we are being considered by our peers for this honor, if you've been nominated. Live authentically. Learn constantly. Build relationships. Foster collaboration. Act courageously. Advocate fiercely. Give back and celebrate. Deb, you kind of know this too because you're the president of Being a Win. I've heard this come out of her mouth many times. Sam Ewing once said, "The consistency, passion, quality, and reliability of a person's work reflects and even spotlights their character and integrity. Some turn up their sleeves and get to it. Some turn up their noses and won't do it. Some don't turn up at all. I've always tried to be one who shows up and rolls up her sleeves. I have learned so much from so many, even if I didn't particularly enjoy the lesson. God has carried my family and I through many, many challenges, personal, professional, family-wise, and he's always been there. Hindsight is truly 20/20, and it builds character and faith. I wouldn't be here without my amazing, smart, tech-savvy, supportive, sometimes irritating, but he will make his own turkey sandwich when I'm working because I didn't have a dinner plan. I don't know when I'm going to be done working, so figure it out. My husband, Clint, over here. Honestly, honey, I love you because I wouldn't be here without you. You've always been there for me, and you have quietly just carried on, and you have come and stood behind the chair when I couldn't figure out why the hell something wouldn't work, and you stand by me and all of a sudden it starts working. I'm like, can you just come stand by me and this will start working now? And I gotta clarify the irritating thing. That came from COVID, when all of a sudden he was working here and in my space. This is my space. He came and now he's working. He took over the beautiful Four Seasons room with the beautiful view of the lake, blocked mine from my office, which is in the back, and you're welcome to go look. The filing is not done, but if you would like to grab a pile, please feel free. I don't have a lot of time to do that sort of thing, plus I hate it. But I've had, obviously, the support of my parents, my amazing parents. My mom died 10 and a half years ago, very unexpectedly, but I know she's there. I know she's there. My parents always said, education, education, education. You will go to college, we'll talk about whether you want to go or not when you're done. My dad said that a lot. And now we know why. He lives in Phoenix now with his companion, Judy. Clint's parents have been so supportive of our family and of me. And every time I do something on TV or something, I get a text or a message from my mother-in-law. Oh, you did such a good job. You should do that. I'm like, oh, no, I didn't. Like, oh, you should do that all the time. I'm like, oh, that's all right. But so many family and friends. Brady, our absolute pride and joy. You have no idea how proud we are of you. And I hope that I have modeled for you what it's like to chase your dreams and be successful, but to know that there's good times and bad times and you make it through. You are well on your way. You have matured. You are so responsible. Brady, we just couldn't be prouder. You're my muse. Do you realize now at 20 years old you can look at your mother and say, hey, it's not that big of a deal. It's not that big. Why do you know, no, just, it's all right, it's all right. All the things that I've said to him, he is now my person. Very proud. And of course, the clients. It doesn't happen without amazing clients. And I'm just so thankful. Anne Marie is here tonight. She is the VP of External Relations for FIM, which is Flint Institute of Music. We just announced our rebrand this week, so we now are FIM, Flint Symphony Orchestra, FIM, Flint School of Performing Arts, FIM, Flint Repertory Theater, FIM, Capitol Theater, FIM, Repertory Theater, Whiting Auditorium. Yes, I got it all. We've only been working on it for a long time. We don't want to count the number of months. But first and foremost, you have to remember that courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes courage is the quiet voice at the end of the night saying, I will try again tomorrow. And as Paul Simon said, if no one ever took risks, Michelangelo would have painted on the Sistine floor. It's true. Think about it, it's true. There are still days when I don't think I know what the hell I am doing. If you're a client, do not listen to that. You did not just hear me say that. I do love what I do. I'm starting to work on some new avenues, some new thoughts about what might come next. I don't know what that might look like exactly. I'm just letting it come. I'm letting it come as it comes, and its time is when it's time. But looking at all of you here tonight and thinking of those who are with me in spirit or have played a part in my success over these past 20 years, I know that I am unbelievably blessed. Thank you doesn't seem like enough to express how much you all mean to me. I am honored that you are here. I don't know what the next 20 years will bring. Nobody knows even what tomorrow is going to bring for sure. I hope Clint and I are continuing to travel the world and maybe even do it a little bit more and not having to worry about billable hours quite so much. Can't wait to see what our amazing son does. Based on the work he's bringing home now, he's an industrial and product design major at Purdue, and he's working on some projects right now that it's like, oh my gosh, this kid is amazing. I pray he also finds happiness and success. I know I'll always be thankful for everyone who has touched my life. So may God also bless you. Thank you.